Okay, here I am again, but I have a lot to say. And before I even get started, I got to thank Raul for choosing me in December after my keynote there. When he asked me to come here, I'm like, what? And he and Aditi invited me to their home. And he presented an opportunity to me where I was overwhelmed, impressed, questioning. And then I said, okay. And I am here. And I want to say welcome to everybody. We were talking earlier about the process of Forttuna. My own experience with Forttuna. I deleted the emails 4 times before I opened it up because I'm used to getting, oh, you won. Oh, we want to give you an award. Oh, we want you in our magazine. It's like click, click, click. Been there, done that. You pay $1,500. You go listen to people that don't have any new ideas. You get a plaque and it collects dust. I showed up with a Forttuna idea and I met with Raul for 10 minutes. It turned into an hour and a half. And the process began, and I filled out the forms and the questionnaires, and I thought, okay, because I qualified for 4 categories, 2 in health, which is my background, and 2 in business, which I had no clue that I qualified for, and I ended up winning Businesswoman of the Year in Media and Entertainment for the United States. And I met people in Dubai from Norway and India, like Rashi, and other people who won the same award for their country, right, Rashi? And it became a network, but it became a family. It became more real. Before I go on, and we all can relate because we all have stories of challenge and highs and lows and love and hatred and loss and death and illness and money and power, prestige, and then you're either God or COD, you're up and down. I'm dedicating tonight to my father, who was just put on hospice Monday. He's 95 years old. I'm 71, which is what... It's about life being so yin and yang, black and white, balance and balance. I worked all my life in something he has no clue. He does not believe in God. And all I do is go talk about God. Ever since the plane crash in 1981, my life became spiritual, and he's Mr. Business. When he was coming up in business, Steve Jobs was a customer of my father's building Apple. And where are we today with the digital world? It all started. A friend of mine wrote an article he created Sirius XM radio, Lee Abrams, you probably know the name. He wrote a piece this week about Steve Jobs, and I put it together for tonight because Steve had a vision, not only to make computers. When my dad was doing printed circuit board artwork for the people before the computers, and I remember my dad saying, Linda, I said, yeah, I was in college at the time. He said, the way of the future is computers. Oh, okay, Dad. Yes, like Dr. Connor was saying, we're all on our phones. Half of you are watching your phone while I'm talking. You're checking that email and you're checking the text and you're checking your YouTube or whatever. But we're all a digital age now. Radio went from AM to FM to satellite to internet. I can talk to any of you with StreamYard or Facebook. We can message momentarily, or we're on Zoom. It's a world. But my father was a businessman, known all over the world. My mom and dad traveled all the time when I was young. India was a big supplier and had many distributors here. I always heard about India. I just got a text from one of the guys I grew up with because our parents worked together. My dad's dying. I said, you either die before I go or you have to wait till I get back. You don't get to die while I'm gone. He's my best friend. As much as like a business, he treated all 3 of us like as business people. We had to make an appointment to see him because he was so business driven. It wasn't until my mother died 16 years ago that he softened and realized he needed to be a dad. And I never left. I walked into the fire like I do in business. We didn't always get along, but like they always say in books, the oldest daughter will take after their father, and I am the business person. But I didn't start out that way. Forttuna helped me accept the business in me and the business woman I have become by acknowledging me after I had that initial interview and filled out the questionnaires, and 6, 7, 8 weeks later, that email came, you've been selected. I'm like, what? And because there were thousands of people. It's like, this is all BS, right? It's not. People, I've been through other competitive groups of awards. I probably turn down 3, 4 magazines a week, and I'm not paying you $1,600 on my face on a piece of magazine that's going to end up on a shelf and nobody calls me. There's no ROI. What do you mean ROI? Because they don't even know what return of investment means. It's like, why should I pay you if I get nothing out of it? I'm teaching the solicitors doing their job because it's just a job. You know, part of becoming independent is leaving the job to create your own job. And that's what I did. Yes, I was in a plane crash. It took 6 years to recuperate. It was a life-altering experience. I was out of my body for 4 months. There was no Google. There was no one to talk to. Party was like a cyclops, 50 feet out of my body for 4 months, and the other stood at 5 feet 8. It was the challenge of integrating what I learned was the psychic part that opened up, and this entity, an entity literally invaded or took over the old me. It's called a walk-in. And it became, I went to a psychic. She said, oh, you're a psychic. Whatever walked in is a psychic. I said, I'm not a psychic. Well, no, I'm not around the world as a psychic. But being a psychic can also have negative connotations because people think I'm a fortune teller, I'm doing the work against Jesus, or you've got blood on your hands. I've heard it all. And the truth is I help people. I took my master's degree in public health epidemiology, my bachelor's in health education from San Francisco State, the University of Michigan. And after all this weird stuff happened, and I was out there traveling the universe trying to figure it all out, back on stage singing my songs, doing my comedy, going back and teaching at USC or doing research at SC or working in health ed at Cal State Northridge. It didn't feel right. Nothing felt right. Nothing satisfied me. Even 2 record deals, which was my dream. Because yesterday, while scrolling through pictures, I came across my 16-year-old self. I was rebellious. I was smoking dope. I bleached out my hair. It was orange and yellow long before Cyndi Lauper. But I remembered a statement that's so applicable for tonight. Ask yourself, because somebody once asked me, would the child you were be proud of the adult you've become today? Totally different than a 16-year-old. Yes, I'm 71 years old. Yes, I have the energy of a 30-year-old or more. Because I keep going. I have faith. I've developed. I've tripped and fallen. I've been abused. I've been knocked down because of my psychic abilities, or why aren't you an epidemiologist? Or, you hear it all. And it's like I was driven. I had a passion. Yeah, I could have been on the stage and doing all my music. And I'll be honest, I got very depressed and very unresponsive for a while when I gave it up. It's like, why did I do that? It's almost like it came out of me because I was being pushed to radio. I was being pushed into the spiritual world. I was being pushed to help deliver a message of hope, love, unconditional love, faith, God, and what this universe is really all about. And I built a business. I didn't have a business. I didn't have an MBA. I have an MPH. An MPH is like the equivalent of an MBA, but instead of studying coffee beans, I did disease. But I got tired of doing cancer research. It was too long. It took 5 years to get the results. I want now. I'm more about, like, give it to me now. Sales. Let me talk. Let me get the end result, right? That's business. I didn't understand that. And one day when I put together a TV infomercial on my Wicks of Wisdom, which is my candle magic line, my dad sat with me with my attorney and said, she's an entrepreneur. And I'm like, I am. I knew nothing about what I became, but I just kept doing. And, it's business. So I named the company and I got the S-Corps and everything just started falling into place. Radio. Let's go back to radio for a moment. After trying to figure out where I belonged, I had a 360 applicants for what was known as KBIG 104 FM in Los Angeles. I was the one selected for the nighttime drive, which means you go on night, which is a 5-hour drive with a talk show host. And they created me. They created the radio psychic. I was the first radio psychic, 1994, pre-internet. We were AM, only terrestrial, AM, FM radio. And I became the radio psychic. And after that stint of 6 months, my creative director said, "You're so good. Why don't you do this?" And he taught me how to broker time. That means buy the time, but go to the show. And then I went from 1 hour a week to 2 hours a week to other stations. I was 5 nights a week. And I built a business because I would put my number out and they called, and all of a sudden I had clients. I used radio as my medium for marketing. No one was doing stuff like that except on weekends. No, I was on nights. And I was on cable. I found out that people wanted more than just what's going to happen with my love life. Am I going to make the money? Should I invest here? Should we buy this house? I mean, I went on and people asked questions. I talked to dead people because I had surgery and it opened me up. And I'm a healer because I had other surgery. I have all these gifts that I do not have. But as each gift opened after each traumatic experience, I just built more in my business. And I became this metaphysical person. I put it all together. I did get my PhD at the age of 54 because I needed to qualify and quantify the science part of me with the woo-woo that a lot of people didn't understand. But Dr. Carl Jung was like the father of metaphysics back in the early 1900s when he watched dolphins come out of the ocean here in India on a train, and he discovered synchronicity. This whole room is a result of synchronicity. Every step you've taken from childhood to this moment brought all of us together. Whether you want to say it's God, if it's spiritual, if it's your hard work, why us, out of all of them, are we here? Because we all share something in common. Yes, we all work hard. Yes, we all do what we do, but there's something special or different or unique about this group of people or the Forttuna family that is recognized because of the life-altering events in our lives or because of you taking experience, strength, and hope and applying it to your specialty. You know, Michael went to Harvard. I went to Michigan, which is Harvard of the Midwest. But anyway, you know, we have letters, we have experience, but we have soul. We have soul here. You know, I have gone through criticisms beyond my imagination, abuse, horrible things. Even people I went to high school with. I knew the elections were going to end up with Trump, and I kept my mouth shut for a year because I knew it was going to happen if I put it out on Facebook. Well, I did on the night of the elections, and thankfully I can finally say I knew it, and people knew that I knew. But I got bashed from some people from high school and grammar school that I never thought even watched me. And whether it's political, whether it's social, whether it's religious, whether it's racial, whether it's business, I mean, everybody picks somebody apart if they're angry or they have nothing better to do. And if they don't like psychics because their priest told them, I had a Hasidic rabbi that said, "Oh, my wife's a psychic, come on in." You know, and Bob Dylan would go to the same congregation, and other people said, "You do what?" You know, everybody's got an opinion. I have learned, I'm not going to say the word I would normally say, but I just say screw it. You know, as much as it hurts and I hide in bed some days, I don't want to work and get up and push. I just don't care. It's like, oh, like they said earlier, it's like, I don't want to do it. I don't care. I built it. Nobody's buying. Sales are down. The economy. You got every excuse as to why I don't do more. Then the voice says, yeah, you do it again. And I keep going. So here I am in business for 24 years. I was 55. I was planning on all those sales to be my retirement. I did not expect to be working at 71 and rebuilding. Depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts. I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have married him. I shouldn't have rejected that. I shouldn't have lived here. I shouldn't have gone. That coulda, woulda, shouldas are going to kill you. The coulda, woulda, shouldas are loud. And then you just say no more. You know, life goes on. At 60, I wanted to die. I was done. I didn't care. I had my sister, my shrink, and a friend pull me through that dark phase. And whoever knew if I just didn't give up that I would end up in Dubai? Now India, who knows, maybe back to Dubai? But it's not even that. It's I get to help people every day. Someone calls in their own stress. My dog died. My husband died. My getting a divorce. My child has this disease. My shoulder hurts. You ever think I'm going to get my SAG card? Am I going to finish school? Where's my kid going to go to college? Are they going to get in? Are they going to break up? Are they going to marry? I hear everybody's life. That's my job. But I give a spiritual perspective. I give hope, and I give answers. If you don't like the answer, like I tell people that don't like what I say if you don't want to know the truth, don't ask a psychic. We have mentors, we have friends, we have enemies, but there's lessons in every single step of the way. And it's up to you to see it. I wear a butterfly. I'm wearing a butterfly tonight. And I notice on the 4th floor where I'm staying, there's a butterfly painting. And I thought, okay, to me, butterflies have become my God. I'm Jewish. I had a Christ awakening after the plane crash. Some cross was flying through the room and hit me on the forehead, and I put the covers over my head. Oh my God, now I'm a Jew for Jesus. I didn't know what was going on, but there was a spiritual thing happening. I was opening up. Then I found the Hindus, and I went to Thailand and I saw the Buddhas. One thing led to another. It's like, we're all the same. We're all the same. What's all this stuff? And I'm not saying anything you haven't heard before. I'm not new. Dalai Lama, everybody that's been here before us for thousands of years, it's just our turn to hear it. John Lennon said it. It's not new. It's just us. It's us now. The poem that changed my life when I was really starting to understand why I was in the plane crash and what to do with it, it's a Sanskrit poem from 1200 AD. And it said, God, are you real? Because I was looking for God. What is God? Who's God? Where do you find God? Why? And that's how I built my radio show for 20 some odd years. It says, the child whispered, God, speak to me. And a meadowlark sang, but the child did not hear. So the child said, God, speak to me. And the thunder rolled across the sky, but the child did not listen. So the child said, God, speak to me. And I forget the verse. The bird, the moon. Anyway, goes on to, I'm a little nervous. It says, God, speak to me. And the child was born, but the child did not know. So the child said, touch me, God, show me you're real. Whereupon God reached down and touched the child, but the child brushed the butterfly away and walked away unknowingly. The stars, the moon, the rain. What else do you want me to show you? It's just the universe. We're people, places, and things. Your business is you. Your practice is you. Your product is you. Your investments is you. The way you handle people is you. The way you attract customers is you. The way you handle their money is you. You're responsible for other people besides you when you're in relationship of business. Like we're talking networking. We all come together. We all need you. You need us. We all have something somebody wants. Face the criticism. Embrace it. Whether they're skeptical with you or not. Get out and market yourself. Use the media in the right way. Focus. Take advantage of the digital platforms today. Everybody's got a podcast, like a grain of sand on the beach, but everybody's got a show now. It's not unique like a broadcaster was 30 years ago. No, everybody's broadcasting. Do what you have to do to get yourself and your product, your service, your opportunity out there, because we are in the digital age. And it goes back to even my father in the 70s, working with Steve Jobs, who had an idea. You have an idea. Your idea got you to Forttuna. I'm choked up about my dad because he's been my best friend. And he doesn't get to see this part. Spiritually, he does. But I know I'm going even higher in my 70s. I have a book coming out. If you'd like the pre-order, it's on my website. My book on the plane crash and the spirituality and all the testimonies of talking to dead people and helping people and healing people. The book's coming out. I thought I gave up music. Nobody wanted my songs. I just got a producer who sold 50 million albums. That's a lot of records. He knows his stuff. He loves my music. That's coming when I get back. One of my songs, which is very universal, called Love Who You Are, he hears it in 5 different genres, from country and pop and hip hop and, folk, which I'm a folk singer. And it's like somebody finally got it. They finally got it. So the message is, don't give up. You just don't give up. It's just like looking at that kid at my guitar at 16. I'm going to sell songs in my 70s. I mean, it's kind of weird, but what else am I going to do? I show up in life. You wake up, do something. You're not sick. You're not in bed. You're not on hospice. You may know people who are. I do. But I still showed up. I talked to her all through this whole thing when my dad fell in January, and it's just been downhill. I said, I don't know. I mean, all I did, we had the fires in Los Angeles, and then my dad, and it's just been a blur. But the rent's paid, and I showed up, and I sold a car and bought a car, and life goes on. Choice is yours, people. I've learned to have faith in God or something out there that's bigger than me, guiding all of us, bringing us all together. You call it God, you call it butterflies, you call it Jesus, you call it Moses and the everlasting light, you call the Buddha, whatever. It's here. But listen here. And then you'll start connecting. You're not going to connect with everybody. You're not supposed to. But when you do connect with somebody, feel it. You know. There's like something you're supposed to learn or connect or become friends with. We're all holistic, mind, body, spirit. I'm going to end with this. The definition of health is the state of mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. Now, I grew up in science studying disease. Cardiovascular disease. I did my thesis on brain tumors. I did all the heavy stuff. But they never talked about the spiritual aspects of health until the holistic movement started to take off a little bit in the 80s, then the 90s. Then you got the woo-woos. Then you got the superfoods. You got to find your balance. But mind, body, spirit, wholeness, spirituality, when it all integrates and you get rid of the fragments, you're a healthy human being. Take that healthy side of you, keep it in your business, keep growing those relationships, and everything else just falls into place. Never mind the criticism, never mind the failures. We've all got them. But you're all here. Embrace that. Thank you.